David Otto is a counter-terrorism expert at Global Risk International. He joins me here in the studio. Thanks very much for coming to talk to us.
Thank you.
Why do you think the situation has deteriorated so badly in Burkina Faso?
I think Burkina Faso has now become the weakest link in the Luptako Gourma Region, which comprises of Niger and Mali. And that has been principally because of the influx of jihadists that have taken advantage of the porosity of the borders. Since the collapse of the Islamic State, we have seen experienced jihadists, coming towards Mali. And because of the influence of the French Operation Barkhane, but also the G5, most of these jihadist fighters have moved towards Burkina Faso that they see as unprepared, to counter them with ungoverned spaces.
Yeah, and how prepared is the government there? Burkina Faso was one of the G5. You mentioned that organisation.
Yes.
It was brought to France recently to have a meeting with the French president about, I suppose, in part, for him to say, do you actually want the French intervention in the area? And they seem to say they did. How prepared militarily and otherwise is Burkina Faso to improve the situation?
I think Burkina Faso is not really as prepared as you think, because, you have to understand that this is an asymmetric warfare. It's not a conventional warfare. And I think what they need to do, as, I've seen the visit that, President Buhari of Nigeria did, with the president of Burkina Faso. They had a similar situation in Nigeria where jihadists had occupied the northern part. And from 2015, with the Lieutenant Buratai, they made a lot of gains. So I think they should actually have those lessons learned from other African countries like Nigeria that they are fighting. Because right now, Burkina Faso is really being run down by the jihadists in this area, and they seem to have no answer to that. And the French is actually not really helping as they should have been doing.
And is there any particular group that has you mentioned jihadis in general, is there a particular group that you think is the most dangerous?
Yes, of course. ISIS in West Africa province spreads towards that area. Al-Qaeda has its links within that region. So there is some kind of a concoction of jihadist organizations, which has been made worse because you then have militias which are coming out, linked to the militia, the Fulani and farmer-header crisis within the region. So I think there is a mix of jihadist organizations that have taken advantage of the porous areas that, they then have in Luptako Gourma region. And I think Burkina Faso really needs to do something to actually drive away these jihadists at the moment.
And what about, in the short term, they've also got a huge problem with displaced people. Where are the people going who've suddenly had to leave their villages? And what's in store for them when they get there?
And I think this is one of the key areas, because what is happening is insecurity leads to displacement. And then this further leads to further insecurity because a lot of people go to areas where they're already stretched and overstretched by, these poverty and inequalities. So what is happening now is this is now creating communal violence between settlers and people that are coming as refugees and displaced persons. So I think the situation is really, really bad, and that is why the UN is really calling for an intervention within the region of Burkina Faso. But I think it's quite important for the Burkina Faso government to get its acts together, but work alongside regional powers and regional states that are already facing the same problems as well in that region.
And when you say get their act together, specifically what?
They need to have a national counter-insurgency strategy, which I think they don't have at the moment. And that is actually causing that you don't have a comprehensive strategy to deal with the problem, because you then have, the dislink between the military leadership and the civilian components. You need to win the hearts and minds of the local people. These are the people that give intelligence to the military in order for them to carry out their operations. Right now, there is no plan, there is no strategy for that. And that's why the military is losing a lot of grounds to the jihadists.
David Otto, very interesting to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much.